Should we talk candidly like we do when we're on the phone, just me and you? Well, probably not.
Yeah, we could. In fact, you could tell them about the Instagram post I just sent you an hour ago. Did you see that?
No, I haven't looked at it yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can't talk about it.
Oh man,
You'll
so
love
let's
it though. It's funny.
let's talk about Kura Home Services. Cool. Kura Home Maintenance of Colorado. It's Kura Home Maintenance of Colorado, right? Really.
Kura Home Maintenance of Colorado, which can be found at kurahomeservices.com for everybody
Yeah,
trying to look us up online. Yeah.
yeah. CuraHomeServices.com is the website, but Cura Home Maintenance. Let's talk about Cura Home Maintenance of Colorado. Where do you want to start, Scott? You want to give an overview of Cura Home and what we do or how we got there? I don't know, however you want to do it.
Well, yeah, obviously both are super important, but I think how we got there probably is a good chronological way to talk about Cura. Um, it really spent 8 years working together, building Riderflex, building a recruiting and staffing company that originally centered on executive level recruitment, VP, director level, middle level management, a traditional search when people think of a recruiting company. COVID kind of changed that for Riderflex, where it became kind of high volume recruiting as well as the executive search, which it still continues to do. And then over the last 3 years, as the model continued to evolve and you saw where employment was going and how companies were hiring and building teams, you had AI enter the picture. You had artificial intelligence and Chat GPT obviously being the most widely recognized AI platform come onto the scene. And I think everybody kind of, they kind of took note and was kind of a little bit cautious at first. And what is this thing going to do? But I think we were very much aware that this could be a game changer for many different things, not knowing really what, but what it was going to be a game changer in business and industries and just the way people function and operated in their everyday life. And fast forward to now, and it's all the rage, it's all the talk, it's everywhere there's investment. And it was about a year and a half ago where in the recruiting industry, we started seeing uh, a heavy need across many companies in the trades. So when you're talking about electrical, you're talking about plumbing, you're talking about construction, more physical, what we call, I guess, blue collar labor, it was becoming difficult to find these people. And so the recruiting company obviously started recruiting these tradespeople and these service people, and it was hard because there was a lack of them. But AI coming onto the scene obviously caused us and many companies to take note of the fact that it was going to eventually replace a lot of the tasks and jobs and functions that people could do from a computer, from the white collar jobs, the desktop jobs, if you will, marketing, digital marketing, and design, a lot of finance roles, just things that computations, just kind of wash, rinse, repeat tasks that can be done. Those types of jobs were going to be and are probably going to be replaced by fewer people utilizing AI technology or AI technology itself just coming in and kind of taking these jobs. And so focus with recruiting was on trades, but then also I think we wanted to diversify our business interests, if you will, and look at ways to generate revenue and income in the trades. And so Cura Home Maintenance was actually founded by a gentleman named Daniel Felt, who we had met and who you've had on your podcast, your Riderflex podcast, talking about his entrepreneurial journey. And Daniel's a former home inspector, so he was going into homes and inspecting homes, and then established Cura Home Maintenance as a company that can come in and provide quarterly routine maintenance to busy homeowners. So effectively coming in, and if you think about a home, there's probably 30 plus areas in the home that people should be doing routine maintenance. You're talking about the kitchen, the utility room, outside the room, the laundry room, just all these general areas that routinely need to be maintained and kept up to prolong and protect that major investment that we all make at least once in our lifetime. And so he started that company in Minnesota. We met him through various business dealings and then found the opportunity to establish Kura in Colorado as a service provider to homeowners here in Colorado. And so Kura really is founded on the routine maintenance concept, which covers those areas that I just mentioned, but also includes a function of residential air duct cleaning and dryer vent cleanouts. And those two functions typically we do on independent visits. Our air duct cleaning service is a whole home air duct cleaning process that uses high pressure reverse blasting air. And it is exactly what I just said. It's a whole home cleaning. So there's a lot of other companies out there that will come in and surface clean around the vents. They might take their vacuum and, put it in a foot or two and then call it good, call it a whole home cleaning. But we go in with high pressure reverse blasting air. Our technician Jack comes in and goes room by room, vent by vent. He passes his reverse blasting air line all the way down through the ductwork to the main trunk lines, pulling that air back to us into our containment center, which is a clear dome cover with a HEPA vacuum. And he just continues to snake each line until the air is clear. And typically, obviously, as you can imagine, with homes that haven't had it done in a long time, that first pass pulls a lot of dirty dust, debris, pet hair, whatever you can imagine being sitting in those ducts after a long period of time and years. He usually will get out. And that's room by room by room by room, second level, first level, down into the basement, doing all the vents and duct work. And then he cleans the trunk lines, the furnace area, and then in and around the blower and where the filter goes. And that really is high value because, as you can imagine, dirty air ducts, first of all, creates poor indoor air quality for people. And so if you've got allergies, if you've got any sort of respiratory issues, dirty and dusty air can exacerbate that and really make it worse for people. And so cleaning those air ducts, first of all, is good for indoor air quality, but then also, your furnace system and your blowers and your air handlers that are passing that through, those air filters can get clogged and dirty more frequently. The system typically can work harder, run less efficiently, and that's a huge expense. Most people don't have enough savings or backup money to just replace a furnace if it goes out. And ensuring that you're keeping those air ducts clean and maintaining that clean air through the system will prolong and protect that particular appliance in the long term. And so it really is a white glove full service offering that we have with the air duct cleaning.
What about the dryer vent cleaning, Scott? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, the dryer vent cleaning. So the air duct cleaning is recommended 3 to 5 years to keep that system operating efficiently. The dryer vent cleaning, it's actually recommended to be performed at least once a year. And we use the same procedure and tool. So it's reverse high blasting air, high pressure reverse blasting air. And typically we'll do that from the exterior. So we'll locate the exterior vent where the air comes out from the dryer. And then our technician, Jack, will snake that line all the way through, effectively pulling out all the lint that's been captured for however many years, or if you're doing it every year, that's been collected over the year, cleaning that out. And that's extremely important for two reasons. One, again, the longevity of that particular appliance. Most of these appliances these days they're fairly expensive, they're very high tech, they got a lot of buttons and dials and lights and flashes. And it's an investment. And so you want to make sure you're maintaining that dryer by keeping that airway clear, because if you're not, it's having to work harder, it's taking longer to dry clothes, and that appliance can burn up and burn out fairly quickly. The other reason is just pure safety. There are about 15,000 homes a year in the US that catch fire, and they catch fire due to clogged dryer vents. And a lot of what we're seeing now with newer homes, so people that are moving into these, like right here in Colorado, we've got so much growth going on, and a lot of these new home developments are getting built with homes that are providing the convenience of the laundry now being on the second story floor of the home, right? So you've got the washer because it's convenient. It's great. You're going to bed at night, you're taking off your dirty clothes, putting on your pajamas, and the laundry's right there. Now you don't have to take it down 2 stories into the basement and then back up when it's done. Super convenient. But the majority of these are now getting vented through the roof of the home, which you might think is ideal, but obviously you've got gravity working against all that lint and particles of clothing that are trying to escape through that hatch, and those vents are getting clogged much, much, much more frequently. And so the majority of our calls typically are from homeowners that are in newer homes that are vented out through the ceiling. We're getting to the home, getting onto the roof, and finding that the entire vent cover on the roof is completely clogged. And if you can imagine, that vent's going up, it's not escaping. You've got snow in the winter, you've got rain in the spring, and that moisture on those metal covers, that condensation will just kind of leak under, get that lint wet, and then it'll harden off almost like a rock. And our technician, Jack, he was just out yesterday. Homeowner could not, the dryer was throwing codes. They could not get the laundry dry. He went up on the roof, got a great picture of it, and that thing was completely blocked and clogged. He actually thought it was a wasp nest that had clogged the whole thing, and so he kind of paused for a minute just to make sure that he wasn't going to get stung in the back.
The customer's like, hey, my dryer's not working.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're going to be happy. They're going to be happy now because their clothes are going to dry faster, or at least in a timely manner. They're not going to burn up their dryer. But more importantly, it's going to provide a peace of mind from a safety perspective that they're not going to be struck with a house fire, and that can be important. We can perform that function on single family homes, but also townhomes, condos. A lot of people that own these particular types of residences, have their own laundry unit. And God forbid, if a fire should start, not only will it, affect obviously their living space, but it could affect the entire building and other residences. And it's just important to make sure that that's maintained and cleared, just for peace of mind and obviously for protection of that investment. So
you mentioned safety. I mean, now I know most people don't want to go clean up a dryer vent that's on the second story, where you're having to take a ladder from the first story up to the second story and then put the ladder on the roof of the first story and then climb up higher. I sure don't want to do that.
yeah, it definitely, for the average homeowner, that can, safety wise, that's a big risk, but we're happy to do it, for our clients.
So you mentioned air duct cleaning about every 3 years, dryer vent cleaning once a year. Now the routine maintenance items, I think, are done. They're all done quarterly, I think. Walk me through tell me how the routine maintenance works. And before you get into kind of how the program works, I just want to mention to everybody here. So it's in the kitchen, it's refrigerator coils and compressor, refrigerator water filter, sharpen the garbage disposal, degrease the stove vent hood, which nobody wants to do, clean dishwasher filter, clean the interior of the dishwasher, polish stainless steel appliances, and clean and seal granite marble countertops. That's all just in the kitchen. I mean, those are just kitchen items.
Yep.
Bathroom and laundry, it's clean the exterior dryer vent, the interior dryer vent, maintain the washing machine filter, clean the interior washing machine drum, snake the drums, maintain bathroom exhaust fan.
Yep.
And then utility room. I mean, this is quite a list here that I know I don't want to do on a Saturday. Utility room, water softener, salt if needed, change, right? I think supply water softener, salt, change furnace filter, change the humidifier filter. And yes, folks, these are all things you're supposed to be doing, which most of us aren't doing. Inspect and test the sub pump, drain water heater, sediment, clean and maintain air exchanger. Gosh, this list just keeps going. Change light bulbs if needed, check smoke alarms, reverse the ceiling fans, fire extinguisher check, fireplace clean out. Outside the home, clean the air conditioner, winterize the air conditioner. And most people just don't clean those air conditioners like they're supposed to. Examine roof gutters, clean out the roof gutters, Sprinkler blowouts. I think you just added that one in there. And the list just keeps going. One of my favorite ones you've added, I think recently is, or you're about to add, is the grill. You clean the barbecue grill, which I hate doing.
Yeah, and I'm sure everybody knows those things can get pretty
Uh,
nasty,
I mean,
after a summer of use. Yeah.
these routine, you call them routine maintenance items. And I think the reason is because you put people on a schedule, right, to kind of do all of these things routinely. Talk to me about how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and these routine maintenance items, I mean, I'm sure as people were sitting there listening to you, name one after the other on this list. They're like, oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah, yeah. It's, and I mean, unfortunately, home ownership, although the American dream is sometimes not the easiest thing, because once you've got the home, then obviously you got to maintain the home to ensure its value and is driving equity properly. And a lot of these items were just identified. We mentioned Daniel earlier in the conversation. As a former home inspector, he'd go into the home. There's going to be a transaction. He's inspecting the home, and most of this list came from those areas which were
Ah,
trouble in the
yeah,
home.
I
And then
got
he
you.
started thinking about how, well, there's really not a company or a service or somebody out there that just can come in and ensure that a homeowner maintains these things. And so obviously the program is suitable for anybody that owns a home. But typically, most of our clients we find that are taking advantage of this program are those they're super busy homeowners, right? A lot of people are working long hours.
Hmm.
They've got a family. They've got to get kids to and from schools and sporting events. A lot of them maybe don't possess the knowledge on these particular functions. Maybe a lot of people don't even know they're supposed to be changing the furnace filter, believe it or not. There's many
Yeah.
times we'll go into a home and they've lived there for 3 years and they don't even know where it is. And so we help educate and show and then set them up on a program to come, effectively change these things on a quarterly basis. And so the items that you just listed, the majority of them are quarterly tasks that should be done. So every 3 months, you should be changing your furnace filter, checking humidifier, just doing all these various tasks, cleaning the filter, cleaning the filter in the dishwasher, cleaning out your washer, those types of things. Some of them are maybe twice a year, biannual. You mentioned air conditioning, right? So in the spring,
I
come
see.
out, get the air conditioner cleaned off, make sure those coils are clean so it's breathing properly and not overrunning and shutting down itself. And then winterizing it for the homeowner as they go into winter, shut that down and then turn on the furnace. And then some items are just annual items, right? That we can come in and annually check. Usually, you mentioned the smoke alarms, the smoke detectors, right? A lot of people that don't have it tied into the electrical system are still running on battery operated smoke detectors, and it's not. They don't commonly know to check those things once a year, and we can come in and just make it part of the routine and the practice to check those things. And so how it works is somebody calls us, and it's a free estimate, by the way. They say, hey, I'm interested in your routine maintenance program.
Okay.
Myself personally or our technician Jack will schedule a first visit to the home. We'll come out to the home, we'll explain the program to them and how it works, and then we'll just walk through the home with them, identifying and targeting each of the areas where
Okay.
we can help. And it's a la carte, really. Some people are
Uh,
more comfortable doing a certain task versus
I
other
see.
things.
Okay.
And so we'll come in and kind of check off each of those items that we can do. They'll sign off on what they want us, what tasks they want us to perform. And then we'll schedule that first visit pretty close to that estimate that we come in. So we don't do that first visit right then and there, but we'll schedule it for the next week or the week after. We'll
Okay.
come in, we'll perform that first round of tasks, and then they'll be set up on a quarterly schedule. And then our system updates, provides them updates via text and email. Hey, your quarterly visit's due to happen. Here's the things we're
Ah,
going to be doing. And
all
then
right.
each visit we're taking before and after pictures and
Okay.
then putting that into a PDF sheet that is emailed to the homeowner so they can see all the tasks that were performed, the before and after pictures. And then, that allows them to then, ask any new questions, add tasks, subtract tasks, whatever it might be. It's a highly flexible program that they can get into to make sure their home is maintained for the long term. So.
Ah, very, very, very good. Love it. Okay, thank you. I think some people might see Cura Home maintenance and they'll see air duct cleaning, the fact that we do air duct cleaning, but it's so much more than that, right? I mean, air duct cleaning is just a piece of the business. It's really a complete home services package that keeps your stuff clean and working well. So it's way more than just air duct cleaning and dryer vent cleaning. So I appreciate you going over those routine maintenance items. Speaking of your tech, Jack, I noticed that you have a 5-star Google review rating with over 100 Google reviews. So you're obviously doing something right with the customers, keeping your customers happy.
Yeah, I appreciate you recognizing that and mentioning it. Those Google reviews, those 5-star reviews are something we're incredibly proud of. And it's amazing when you think about running a business and running a quality business, right? There's really a couple
Right.
things that go into running a quality business. I think the first one is say what you're going to do and then do what you said you were going to do, right? Come in and just and that
Uh,
comes from communication to the execution, right? If you've got good, clean, quality communication, you come in and execute. I think anybody that's running a business is going to be successful. And so, we've got over 100 5-star reviews. Most of those and the majority of those have come from our technician, Jack, out in the field. What people can expect in service from Kura is great communication in scheduling, understanding about the service, what we provide, how it's priced. Our pricing is very, very, very transparent. There's no bait and switch. There's no hidden fee. I just saw several ads over the last couple days on social media for air duct cleaning companies that are offering $49 for all vents, unlimited vents in the house. And what I can assure anybody that's listening, there is not a company on earth that is going to be able to come in, clean unlimited amount of air ducts in the entire venting system, do basically a whole home air duct cleaning service for $49. And so unfortunately what happens is somebody sees that ad, they see the price, they get baited into calling and having the service provider show up. And then they just start adding on this vent, that vent, this type of cleaning. Now you need this, now you need that. And unfortunately, these folks, bought in good faith on what they saw in the price, but then end up thousands of dollars, over $1,000 in that particular service because everything got added on. And so communication from the very beginning, transparent on our process, our pricing, they schedule, they're getting great communication leading up to the visit. Here's when our tech's expected to show up. On the day of, they're getting texts with from the technician when he's en route and when the time window is that they can expect to see him. And then during the service, Jack is constantly updating them on where he's at in the process, what he's finding as he's moving through it. And then after the service is complete, reviewing what was done, showing any pictures that he collected, and then answering any questions that they might have. And so great communication, great service. We like to consider it a white glove service, if you will, for the trades.
That's what's
So
driving your reviews. And by the way, for the listeners, they are real reviews. If you click on the reviews and read them, they're from real people about Kura Home that live in Colorado. I encourage people that see any air duct cleaning company that says they have 1,000 reviews. I encourage you to really click and read those, because there are companies out there faking reviews, scamming people. I see it all the time. And what you need to know about Kura Home is it's a family-owned local business with real reviews from real people that we have serviced.
yeah, yeah, and I think
You
that's
know,
the real reviews is a good point, Steve, because it's as you operate your business, you have friendly competition. There's competitors doing maybe some of the same tasks that you're doing, and you want to say, well, what are they doing well? Do you want to maybe emulate that? And there's been some reviews we've clicked on that have
yeah.
nothing to do with the business they're running. It's really interesting the way that happens sometimes. So
The other thing I was going to mention about Jack, and I'm sure this is one of the reasons that he gets such good reviews. He's clean, he's respectful, he's organized, he's orderly, he's professional. A lot of service companies, quite frankly, send scary guys into the home, right? And some of the homeowners are a little nervous when they see these guys pull up in some van that looks like it just, got out of the junkyard, and then some guy crawls out of it, big, hairy, smelly technician that looks like he just came from a homeless encampment, and he comes into your house, and that is not what you get with Kura Home. Now, with Kura Home, you're going to get a clean, professional tech that really cares about your home and is going to take care of you. That's one of the reasons you have such great reviews.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, I think that's a important point you make there is we really treat every home like it's our own. And so, our shoes are removed when we're doing work in the house. We don't wear we don't even wear booties. We take our shoes off when we're working through the home to respect the cleanliness of the home.
Right.
We have corner guards, and so a lot of companies will come in with their equipment and unfortunately start banging on furniture in the corners of the walls, and we bring in corner guards to make sure that we're not leaving scuff marks or God forbid putting nicks into the furniture and walls. And so it really is a careful effort to make sure it's a nice, clean, comfortable, quality experience for every customer. Yeah.
Yeah, great job on the reputation and the reviews so far. I wanted to come back to the pricing. There's so many of these BS scams out there, especially for air duct cleaning. And you mentioned it earlier. You'll see these ads, $49 or $99 for all your air ducts, for full air duct cleaning. And I just want to really encourage the listeners that is not real. Okay. That is a straight up lie. It's fake advertising. They're trying to do a bait and switch to get you to get the tech to your house, like you said. And that's exactly what happens. You described it well. Mr. Jones sees $99. He calls, they schedule it, the tech gets there, and then the tech says, well, that's $99 for me to look at the vents and maybe take a vacuum and vacuum the outside. Now, if you want full home air duct cleaning where I'm running a snake through the thing, well, then it's this price, and then it's this and this and this, and then they just start adding on. Yeah. It really is frustrating to see companies lie to the consumer. And so it's very important for anybody listening to this episode. Nobody is going to clean your air ducts like Scott described all through your house for $99. That is a straight up lie. And I encourage you to call Scott and his team at Kura Home if you really want a thorough service. And so I just wanted to harp on that for a minute, because I know you guys deal with these scammers out there all the time with these fake ads. So
Yeah, and I would encourage people that if they want to try, it's always good to shop around and find a service that's best for you. But if you wanted to try and call and see, hey, is this real or not? I'd do it. But what I would encourage people to do is to ensure that whatever they're getting quoted, they're having it documented back to them in maybe an email or some sort of written format that's the way it's going to be. And the questions that people should be asking, right, is first of all, you should be able to find them online. If any one of these companies doesn't have a very good, solid online presence when it comes to a website, a quality website with a contact phone number, a contact email, and just a good presence, buyer beware a little bit. If they don't have good reviews, if they don't have even a quality social media presence. I mean, with social media these days, it's hard to find a company that doesn't at least have a Facebook page with the same contact information, some reviews, and maybe some pictures of their work. Again, a little bit of buyer beware there. But any one of these air duct companies should be able to tell you, based off a good quality conversation over the phone, almost to the dollar, how much it's going to cost them to come in and provide service for you. So if you can't get basically a good quality estimate within $10 to $20 of what it's going to cost, then again, buyer beware. And that's where I say Kura provides very transparent pricing. Through understanding the square footage of the home, we can get a good target of how many vents there actually are, and then we'll be able to quote you pretty accurately what it's going to be. And then when we get there, Jack will go through the process of counting all the vents looking, he'll look at the system, make sure he understands their one furnace, two furnace, and then, talk with the homeowner about that and say, yep, spot on. Here you go. Here's what it is. And if for some reason, we underestimated how many events there were going to be, typically we don't charge for any additional ones or twos that Jack might find. And so that's our event count guarantee. We have an event count guarantee. We feel so confident about accurately estimating the number of events that we've got a guarantee, and won't upsell, a couple additional that we might find. So
one of the things consumers should, I think a good way to just think about it is, if you're seeing an ad for 99 bucks for all events and just do the math in your head, no company is going to send a driver and pay a tech to come out to your house for several hours and do that all day long for customers for $99 and be in business. I mean, the math just doesn't work. So it's obviously fake advertising.
yeah.
One of the things I was going to ask for the listeners is, for a legitimate air duct cleaning company, so for the competitors that you do have that are legit and charging fair, reasonable prices, in general, people should expect to pay, depending on the size of their house and how many vents they have. Is it reasonable to say between 400 and 900 bucks for full air duct cleaning, depending on your size? Or what is I know it's kind of hard because you have houses that are such different sizes, but what's a general expectation on pricing so people know?
Yeah, I think a general expectation on pricing is right about where you just said, which would be $400 to, if it's a 5,000 square foot house with a lot of vents, to 900 to $1,000. Somewhere
Okay.
in that range is what people can expect. Typically, the average size home, average size being, let's call it 1,250, 1,500 square feet, up to about 3,000 square feet, will fall in that $500, $600 range for a.
Okay.
And again, Steve, just so I'm clear, so people understand, this is a whole home air
Oh,
duct
yes.
cleaning.
Right.
Every vent, every supply, every return, all of the trunk lines, in and down around the furnace, and then inside the furnace, and then the blower and the fan, and that cavity where the furnace filter sits.
If
So
you're calling any air duct cleaning company and they're not quoting you a price somewhere in that range, and they're quoting you something crazy like 99 bucks, you should just hang up on them because that's not real.
yeah, it's not, and you're going to be hard pressed to understand what the real price is before they actually get to the home. And so, yeah, ask the right questions, and you should be able to get a good solid price.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that overview. So if people I want to talk a little bit, I want to go back to some of the stuff you mentioned at first on why we decided to invest in Kura Home, talk about that whole AI thing a little bit more. But for the listeners, Kura, Kura, KuraHomeservices.com, or the phone number, Scott. What's the best phone number?
720-994-8303. 720-994-8303. And again, there's a team of real people
Real people
based
that
here
are
in Colorado that
That's
will
right.
answer the phone and talk to you about coming out. Yes.
Yeah, it's not going to be some overseas person you can't understand. It's actually either my wife, Kim, or Brianna, who works for us, and that they both live in Colorado. They're both part of our organization. They are real people that work for Kura Home, not some outsourced call center over in the Philippines.
Yeah. Well, and you might even get me. I mean, we all have the phone ringing. We can see it ringing, and we're happy to answer it and talk to people about what we do.
And I guess we should mention that, just to emphasize this, right? Like this is a family owned local business, several family members involved. This is not some big investment firm that's using a bunch of crazy, messy, nasty techs that are just getting farmed out business. So it's not some overseas call center that's just farming business to a tech that doesn't care. It's not some overseas call center. Like, no, this is and this is why you have such great reviews, because this is actually a real locally owned family business here in Colorado that's living, breathing, and dying with how well this thing does, which is why you care so much.
Yeah. Well, and you can see, I mean, you mentioned the overseas call centers. That's where a lot of these scams and these bait and switch prices come from. And
Yes.
anybody
Yes.
can go to YouTube, and if you search it in YouTube, there's a lot of people that have actually gone through the process of saying, is this real or not real? And it is. It's overseas call centers that basically will set up a brand or a reputation in a particular geographical region. They'll make contact with some individual that's got a van and a vacuum, and then they'll sell that lead
That's
to
right.
that individual at that price that they're advertising, and then that particular individual will come, and that's when they upsell and charge and try and get homeowners into, you know, 5 times whatever the 5, 6, 7 times whatever the amount was that was quoted. So
What a great overview of the company and explanation on how all the pricing and services work. Thank you very much. Um, so you mentioned earlier that we are, you know, me, you, and some of our partners invested in Kura Home Colorado because of the AI march on white collar jobs. And so I just wanted to kind of go back there for a minute. We're recording this on August 21st, 2024. I think it's important we mention the date because as things move along, it just gets more crazy. Um, yeah, you know, if the listeners are curious, you described it well. You and I were watching what was going on. We're in the recruiting and staffing business with Riderflex, the recruiting company we own. We started seeing an uptick in demand for blue collar workers because nobody could fill those jobs. So we're
yes.
recruiting heavy for blue collar. Then AI started affecting the white collar jobs, and those searches and those jobs started to diminish. And now it's getting worse. And that's when we had Daniel, like you said, Daniel was on the podcast, and he said, "Yeah, I'm thinking about franchising this thing and getting it going in other markets." And so that's when you and I said, hey, maybe we should invest in something else. Let's diversify. So we jumped on it. We jumped on it to, like you said, diversify our portfolio. Riderflex, the recruiting firm, is still going, of course, and the Riderflex podcast, but it is nice to have something in the trades. It's nice to have an investment in the trades going on the side, depending on what happens. You and I talk a lot about the large language models and chat GPTs and Geminis and things. We watch it closely because we have to, because we're in the staffing and recruiting business. But we're both amazed at how many people or what percentage of people just throughout our day don't fully grasp what's going on.
Yeah.
I feel like a vast majority of people don't really understand. Aren't you amazed by that, Scott?
Yeah, I am amazed by it, and you know, and I can understand it a little bit to the extent that nobody really knows exactly what's there's some uncertainty, there's some, you know, there's a little bit of scaredness, you know, there's some apprehension about it, but the resistance to try it, the resistance to test it, the resistance to learn it, become knowledgeable about it is where I continue to be amazed. Because I think the one thing that is certain, because we're seeing, and I know it's certain because it's already happened. AI and the tools that are there are becoming more of the resource that people are using in their daily life, which is taking the place of people that you used to hand money to actually provide whatever the result is that you were looking for, whether it was an answer to something, whether it was an asset of some sort in the marketing field, whether it was a financial report, whether it was a book. I mean, you can produce books now, right? That you can buy at riderflex.com. They, but the resistance to learning about it, being open-minded about the potential and the opportunities is puzzling to me and surprising that more people are not getting on board.
You think it's because they're scared, they're worried?
I think so. I think a lot of the commentary is, if you look at headlines, oh, it's going to take the jobs and the robots are coming, and a lot of that stuff can be incredibly sensationalized, but it will have an effect. And the better that people understand the effect that it's going to have and where they can use these tools in their life and their business, the better off those people are going to be. And there are so many great tools that people can be taking advantage of to make themselves, first of all, create better content than you probably ever could on your own, spending 4 hours at a computer trying to, whatever it is, create a PowerPoint presentation, write a blog, whatever it is you want to try and do. You can do it more efficiently, more effectively, more intelligently, and it's just helping people that are using it grow their business faster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, any tool that makes me faster, smarter, and more efficient, I'm all about it.
Yeah. Well, the old phrase was, hey, just Google it. Just Google it.
Just Google it.
I don't Google it anymore. I chat GPT it. That's
Right?
what I do.
Me too.
Yeah.
You know what's really great is in school I was an average student at best. Now I had good common sense and I had pretty good people skills and leadership skills. But as far as IQ book smart, yeah, I was average at best,
Yeah,
average.
I think I was probably sitting with you in class then. I wasn't any better.
With ChatGPT, it's like, oh man, all of a sudden I'm one of the smart guys too. I'm just as smart as everybody else.
At the end of the day, going through school and anything in life really is just about getting the answer, right? And how you get the answer, does it really matter? I mean, it used to
Great
be,
point.
you have to go to an encyclopedia to get the answer in the history of whatever it is you wanted to do. And then the internet came up and you could search websites and dig through websites and find the answer. And then Google, was able to just say, hey, here's where you can go to get the answer. And now ChatGPT is just a more advanced version of taking everything that we've been using for all these years, curating it, and then and giving you the answer with cited sources, by the way, as well too. Yeah. It's not just you don't have to take its word for it. You can double check it and click the sources that it's using, and so just go get the answer.
I highly recommend people pay attention to what's going on for sure. Don't put your head in the sand. And trade skills, skilled trades, I guess I should say, in high demand. If you're listening to this episode and you're 19 years old and you're thinking, boy, what am I going to do for a living? I recommend you look at the skilled trades. I think there's going to be lots of opportunity there. And hopefully, by the way, opportunity with Kura Home. We're going to need more techs, more drivers. We're going to need all kinds of people as you grow this thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're continuing to add additional services as we go. We don't have it all covered, but when we go into the home and we're talking to the homeowners about what we do, inevitably somebody always says, well, hey, how about this? Can you do this for us? And typically it's a task that we can, a routine quarterly task that we can put in and make part of the service as well too. So it's always growing.
KuraHomeServices.com. The email, what's the email? info@KuraHomeServices.com.
Yep. You send an email there and we all can see it and reply. Mm-hmm.
And the phone number one more time.
720-994-8303. 720-994-8303. Yeah.
Thank you, Scott. Big shout out to Brianna and Jack and Kim and everybody else involved at the Kura Home.
Yeah, the team is great. We're blessed to have them on board for sure. Yeah.
And now a quick word from our sponsor.
Most homeowners don't have the time or expertise to properly take care of their home, which causes costly issues to arise. That's where Kura Home Maintenance comes in. We're a full-service, routine maintenance company that was developed by a certified home inspector. Each quarter, we service our clients' homes following manufacturer's recommendations to properly maintain all the necessary appliances. We provide the materials and expertise to prolong the life of your property, creating a healthy and efficient environment for your family. From top to bottom, we'll maintain and service your home. To get started, we have a property inspection to determine what needs to be maintained, and a maintenance plan is created based on your preferences. From refrigerator coils to filters, vents, and drains, we do it all, and we do it well. Contact us today for your free routine maintenance inspection, and never worry about your maintenance again.